This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
ChatGPT Tasks are back like they never left, even though they did, but they also kind of didn't. Claude Design went from a slow and expensive party trick to a creative juggernaut in training. Claude Code is getting in on the artifacts game, and Codex can now just watch you work and then repeat back all the tasks that you just did. Oh, we got a new model that scores higher than Gemini 3.1 Pro, and it's not from Google, Anthropic, or OpenAI. And it's open weights? What? Yeah, crazy week of new AI features that you can use today. So while we were all paying so close attention to what was happening with Anthropic and the US government and Fable 5, everyone just released a ton of new AI features that you can start using today. But unless you were spending hours every single day keeping up with it like I do, you probably missed a lot of these new updates. That's why we have our Friday features show that brings you a bunch of new AI upgrades that you don't have to wait for. No wait lists, no coming soon. Go use them now. So welcome to Everyday AI, but let's talk about what you're going to learn on today's show. So you're going to learn why ChatGPT getting rid of one feature was actually a big upgrade. You're going to know the simple Claude Code Design upgrade that will make an instant difference. And you'll know if one of the biggest name in tech will make a dent in the AI avatar space. All right, let's start. Welcome to Everyday AI. My name is Jordan Molson. We do this thing for you. It's a daily live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter helping everyday business leaders like you and me not just keep up with all of these updates, but I tell you what to use, what not, and how to use it to grow your company and career. So it starts here with the unedited, unscripted live stream podcast, but make sure to go to our website at youreverydayai.com. And we're going to give you not just the recap of today's show with all the important links so you can go try all these new features, but also we're going to give you all of the other AI news and updates you need to know to be the smartest person in AI at your company. All right, let's get straight into it. A ton going on. Let's start with ChatGPT Tasks. So this is technically something getting taken away because this announcement is actually ChatGPT's Pulse going away and being replaced by ChatGPT Tasks. Let me explain. So before, ChatGPT Tasks was first, right? And then OpenAI kind of demoed and slowly rolled out this thing called Pulse, which was this proactive kind of agent that gave you kind of like a nice little web page, every single day based on your interests, different things that you were using ChatGPT for, etc. Personally, I didn't like Pulse. I thought it was hard to steer. I didn't find a lot of value. But the thing that I actually disliked was that on my ChatGPT Pro plan, at least, I couldn't use scheduled tasks anymore because scheduled tasks were the precursor to Pulse. And then they kind of got rid of tasks on the Pro plan. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need my tasks back. And well, now tasks are back, but they're just back because Pulse is gone. But now tasks are rolling out to everyone. Confusing, I know. All right, so here's what it is. So ChatGPT can now perform tasks proactively in the background, including setting reminders, managing recurring work, and monitoring connected apps on the web on a schedule. So if you look in the left-hand side, there should be a new dedicated scheduled page in the ChatGPT sidebar that lets users view, pause, resume, edit, and delete all active tasks in one place. So like I said, with this, OpenAI is sunsetting Pulse, that personalized daily summary thing. And instead, everything is moving over to tasks. So who has updates? Well, this is starting to roll out now to essentially all paid plans. So before, to get this kind of power, you had to have that Pro plan for Pulse, but now it is rolling out to all paid plans. No word yet on when the free tier might get access, but there's rumors that this might happen. The cool thing is this is not just on the web, but it's also on iOS and Android as well. So here's what OpenAI says about it. They said, we're making scheduled tasks easier to create and manage in ChatGPT with a dedicated scheduled page, improving task creation and editing flows, more flexible scheduling options, and better notifications. Users can schedule one-off and recurring tasks and also ask ChatGPT to check for changes and notify them when there's a meaningful update. So that part is new as far as I know. So you don't even have to tell it. You don't even have to say check every single day at 9 a.m. Let's just say that you're trying to monitor one of your competitors, as an example, because you know that they're going to be announcing a new product soon and there's a splash page and you want to know when it's updated, as an example, right? You don't even have to say check this page out every single day at 9 a.m. You can just say, check it out and tell me when it's updated. So that right there is a new piece. The cool thing, another thing that I like about this is they do have these kind of starter tasks that you can go in. So a lot of times I think staring at a blank canvas or a blank prompt box is intimidating. That's why I like the rollout of workspace agents a couple of months ago, because it had a lot of good kind of templates. So same thing here with these scheduled tasks. And then you can also just kind of prompt them in the normal ChatGPT interface, and then it will save there. So another thing to keep in mind, this uses and can use all of your apps and connectors. So, simple things like triaging your email, calendar, and, Google Drive every single morning. So if you have different files floating around a drive, calendar appointments, all these things, you need to do some research. You can have this as a scheduled task every single day. If you've already connected, in this case, your Gmail, calendar, and Drive, you can have it run every single day, 6 a.m., give you a rundown, really cool. And then, you can obviously play around with it in natural language to get it set up. So, why is it useful? Well, hopefully you can tell, but I think it's the combination of scheduling something, kind of having this work proactively for you and using your connected apps. That's the big combination there. So I think for a lot of people that aren't Codex pilled yet, and you want this kind of taste of a proactive agent, this is enormous. It sounds small, right? It's like, okay, well, I could just go in and do this prompt when I need it. Yes, you can, right? But the biggest thing with AI now is you want it working for you, right? You should be prompting less and less in a prompt box, and you should instead be consuming more that agents are going out and doing on your behalf with your guidance. So who's going to find this valuable? Anyone, right? If you're, whether you're marketing, an ops professional, business operator, it doesn't matter. So one other thing to keep in mind is you can right now, I think, only create up to 10 tasks at a time. So we'll see if that changes. Hopefully it will. I would love to have hundreds. All right, let's keep going. Our next one, Claude Design, with some huge upgrades. All right. And let me say this. Claude Design, I think, was kind of polarizing when it was released. In theory, it was great, but also in practice, I think it failed in a lot of instances. We even did something, designing PowerPoints. We did this a couple of weeks ago on one of our AI at Work on Wednesday shows, which will be back next week. FYI, we took a pause this week for our 800th episode that happened to fall on Wednesday, but we showed you once, designing PowerPoints in Claude Design. It was fine, but a lot of, the default, everything in Claude Design looked the exact same, right? So I think some of these new features that they announced will hopefully help in that and just make it a lot more useful. All right, so this was part of what Anthropic called the Claude Design June update. So here's what it is. So this was just announced, and it brings in a real WYSIWYG editing. That is the what you see is what you get editing, right? So if you've ever used something like WordPress or Wix, or, even like Canva is technically a what you see is what you get editor, where you can literally go click on something and edit it right? And you get new options. I mean, that's what you have now in Claude Design, which is really, really cool and really powerful. This is one I'm stoked. This is, one of the most excited releases that I've seen from Claude, probably since Artifacts. For me personally, I'm more excited to go use this new June update in Claude Design than I was with Fable. Fable 5 was cool and all, but for a lot of my head-to-head use cases, it performed about the same level as GPT-5.5 Pro. But let's talk a little bit more about the new update in Claude Design. So this has that new, like I said, WYSIWYG editing, design system imports, two-way integration with Claude Code, which is great, and I think was a sorely needed option from the original Claude Design, better export options, and desktop support. So the design system you import into Claude Design is now the same component library that Claude Code uses to implement, creating a true round trip from prototype to production. And that's like what I said. That was one of those things that I thought was missing before in Claude Design. It just kind of lived there. And it was, it didn't even live inside of Claude Chat. It was just its own kind of interface. You had to click design and it opened up a new tab. But now it is more tightly integrated in Claude Code, which is awesome, right? So this is, as an example, something I've been using a lot is people think like, oh, inside, ChatGPT or Codex, it doesn't have good front end. And AI moves too fast to follow, but you're expected to keep up. Otherwise, your career or company might lag behind while AI native competitors leap ahead. But you don't have 10 hours a day to understand it all. That's what I do for you. But after 700 plus episodes of Everyday AI, the most common questions I get is, where do I start? That's why we created the Start Here series, an ongoing podcast series of more than a dozen episodes you can listen to in order. It covers the AI basics for beginners and sharpens the skills of AI champions pushing their companies forward. In the ongoing series, we explain complex trends in simple language that you can turn into action. There's 3 ways to jump in. Number 1, go scroll back to the first one in episode 691. Number 2, tap the link in your show notes at any time for the Start Here series, or you can just go to starthereseries.com, which also gives you free access to our Inner Circle community where you can connect with other business leaders doing the same. The Start Here series will slow down the pace of AI so you can get ahead. It's true, it doesn't. But if you use GPT Image 2, which is the most powerful image gen model in the world by far, all of a sudden you do one prompt using image gen inside Codex and then just hand that off without doing anything. And all of a sudden you get great front end. So now I think you have something similar here with the new Claude Design June update connected to Claude Code, which is really cool. So who has access? So right now, this is in beta on paid Claude plans. So including Claude Pro, Max, Team, and Enterprise plans included with your subscription. So it is still in that kind of sidebar or at claude.ai/design, and it shares usage limits with your other, right, chat, cowork, Claude Code, all that thing. So here's why it's useful. Well, you can bring your own design system into Claude Design from a GitHub repo, design file, raw upload, and then Claude builds with your components and checks its output against the system rather than inventing its own buttons and spacing. So it also eliminates the rework loop between design and engineering prototypes that can go directly to Claude Code without respecking it, which is huge. And then some of the new export options, which I think are crazy powerful. So you can export to PDF and PowerPoint. That is the one small thing I said, okay, this is going to be big now because like I said, there were some things trying to design like decks inside Claude Design that just didn't work out. But now that you can export to PowerPoint, that's huge. Or you can send work directly to third parties like Adobe, Base 44, Canva, Gamma, Lovable, Miro, Replit, Vercel, and Wix. So that right there, enormous. enormous, right? These tight integrations with all of these other kind of design or web platforms. I mean, for me personally, I'm going to be using the Canva one a lot. I'm going to at least try out the Gamma and Lovable one as well. All right, so here is what Claude says about the new updates. So, um, Claude Design now sticks to your design system across projects, works fluidly with Claude Code, lets you edit directly on the canvas, and connects to more tools you already use. It has a new home in the sidebar on the Claude desktop app. You can also find it at claude.ai/design. All right, I do want to read a little bit. There we go. About the editor here. About the what you see is what you get editor. All right, so where did that go? Where did that go? All right, I can't find all of the information that I wanted to. Where did it go? We'll just do a search for editor. There we go. Okay, so it says our new editor gives you direct, fine-grained control over every element of your designs. New, rich layout controls let you drag, resize, and align elements. Hundreds of stability fixes make the editor hold up under real use. So that's the thing that I think is going to be great. And then, like I said, all of those export options. So who's going to find this valuable? Well, anyone, right? So if you're product design, developers, marketing, right? Anywhere. Also, if you're using Canva, Gamma, and you're not really happy with the designs, the overall quality of Claude Design is stellar if you aren't using the defaults, because like I said, the defaults are just, so cookie cutter. So as long as you iterate a little bit in Claude Design, and now the abilities that you have to better import your design system and export to other third parties, pretty big here. All right, let's keep moving. Next, we have a big tech player might be making a bigger splash in the AI avatars game. So we have new updates to Google Vids, and I think people are going to actually really like this. So here's what's new. So reading this from the Google Workspace update, they said with the integration of Gemini 3.1 Flash text-to-speech, which came out a couple of weeks ago, and the latest capabilities in VO 3.1, AI avatars in Google Vids have become more realistic and expressive than ever. We're excited to announce expanded language support, a new collection of avatar defaults, and the ability to direct your custom avatars to take action in any generated videos. So yeah, this is essentially combining a couple of more recent updates, specifically the Gemini 3.1 Flash text-to-speech, in bringing that with VO 3.1, Google's AI video model, into Google Vids. So a little bit more on what's new. So that now has different avatar options. Instead of 23, there's 53 default presets spanning from photorealistic, 3D cartoon, and graphic novel styles. And VO video generations now run without duration limits, up from the previous 8-second cap. That's the thing that is going to make a big difference, I think. So who has access? Anyone with a Google account in the US right now can try the new AI avatars in Google Vids at no additional cost. So the free tier limits to up to 10 VO generations a month, and then higher quotas are available on paid workspace plans. So here's why it's useful. I mean, there's also an updated Google Slides integration that lets users convert presentations into more scalable, engaging videos with just a few clicks. That one is going to be big. Also, the custom avatars can now be directed to walk, talk, and interact with objects simply by typing a text prompt describing their actions, making product demos and tutorials much cheaper to produce. That's another big one, because I think a lot of times these avatars, it's always they're kind of good, but they're kind of just clunky because they're just kind of, robotic and not moving, or, sometimes you'll have these jerky hand movements, but now you can actually direct them inside Google Vids, pick up a coffee cup, take a sip, move your water from one side of the screen to the other, pet the cat on the desk, whatever it may be. So a lot of added direction there. All right, let's keep it going. This one, from a name we don't mention a whole lot, but I think this is actually a pretty big update, and you can go use it now. So this is OpenRouter's new Fusion. So OpenRouter Fusion lets you choose a panel of participant models alongside a judge model responsible for fusing the individual results together. So with Fusion, running your prompt through multiple models in parallel and then synthesizing a single output. So right now, the quality preset defaults, it did when it was released. So it defaulted to Fable 5 plus GPT 5.5. So whenever we get Fable 5 back, whether that's today, Monday, seems like it might be soon-ish, according to the latest reporting. I'm guessing the quality preset will go back to Fable 5 plus GPT 5.5. And then the budget preset runs Gemini 3 Flash and Kimi K2.6 and DeepSeek V4 Pro. So Fusion launched publicly as an experiment a couple of months ago, but now has been fully integrated into OpenRouter's API. So who has access? So if you have an OpenRouter account, you have access. There's also a 128K context token window. So there is a way that you can go demo this and try it out here. So I kind of have it on my screen. You can click Try Fusion Now, and you can try it right here. But I don't think that you can really do a lot of the more advanced features. You will have to have a paid plan for that, but you can at least go give it a shot, see if this works for you. So here's why I think it's useful. Well, because you can synthesize the results of multiple models, and that can significantly outperform what any individual model can produce on its own. So this is kind of like a mixture of models that I've been talking about for a very long time. We've seen offerings from Perplexity and Microsoft, like the Model Council. That's this idea, right? Having one prompt and then having it go through multiple models kind of back and forth, and then having a judge look at it on the back end. This is something, if I'm being honest, that I do manually all the freaking time. So that's why this one with Model Fusion, I'm probably going to be using this a little bit, just because it is so powerful to be able to use multiple models in different sequences or in different ways. A lot of times I'll have like an auditor, using sub agents for this in Claude Code or Codex is really helpful as well. But this is just an easier way. If you're non-technical, you can go try it out at let me just make sure I get this right, openrouter.ai/fusion. So to run multiple models side by side, run an analysis, and fuse into the best result. So pretty cool here. You have a quality option, a budget option, and then a custom option as well. So who's going to find this valuable? I mean, research and analysts running high stakes, complex queries where output quality justifies the higher per call cost. Developer teams that want to test cross-model consensus without building their own routing infrastructure, and organizations that need frontier-level reasoning without paying frontier-level prices on every single call. All right, let's go next, and we have artifacts, again, from Claude, this time inside Claude Code. So yes, Anthropic artifacts are not new. They've been around for like almost 2 years now. And one of my favorite features that Anthropic introduced, and I think it was actually the artifacts feature that led to the very popular Gemini canvas, which is still one of my most used features across any tool, and the ChatGPT canvas as well, even though it's not called canvas anymore, it's called blocks. I miss canvas. Bring it back, OpenAI. Just give me my toggle. Anyways, artifacts actually set the stage for all of this, but it was really just available in the Claude.ai web interface. Not anymore. let's talk about what's new in Claude Code Artifacts. So Claude Code can now capture work progress as an artifact, turning Claude Code's work into live, shareable visual pages, including PR walkthroughs, system explainers, dashboards, and release checklists that update themselves as the session works. So Claude Code builds an artifact using the full context of your session, including the code base, connectors, and conversation itself, meaning a single incidents page can bring together failing tests, code monitoring error spikes, and root cause reasoning without wiring up a separate data source. So every artifact's publishes to a persistent URL with version history and an org level gallery for browsing and managing all artifacts created. So who has access to this? Well, you have to be on a team or enterprise plan using Claude Code, and it's accessible from the Claude Code CLI and the desktop app as well, with pages viewable in any browser. So yeah, right now, if you're on a normal paid plan or a free plan, you don't have access. It's only team. This is kind of similar to Codex sites, which is something I have been loving using. I do have a Claude Max. I'm on the 200 Max plan. I don't have a team plan, so this isn't one that I'm going to be using, at least not yet. I do think that this is a little bit more developer focused than Codex sites, which is a little bit more for, or seemingly marketed toward your everyday knowledge work, where this artifacts feature for Claude Code seems to be a little more developer heavy. So here's why it's useful. Well, it kind of replaces the walk you through what the agent found problem. Teammates can see the same live view with the same context in real time. And when Claude Code updates an artifact, the open pages refresh in place, and teammates can then see the updates the moment they're published. So yeah, like I said, very similar to what OpenAI just released in Codex sites about 2.5 weeks ago. So who's going to find this valuable? I think ultimately engineering teams. Right. If you are right now a heavy Claude Code shop, I think this is going to be great. Right. So anyone that's on a Claude team or enterprise plan doing a lot of software dev, also product managers who want to track what actually shipped without asking engineers. Same thing. I think that'll be helpful for them as well. All right. 2 more quick ones. And the first was a sleeper, but actually grabbing a lot of headlines. So a new open weights model from ZAI. Yeah, actually, if you look at artificial analysis, it has a higher intelligence score than Gemini 3.1 Pro. This is the new GLM 5.2 from ZAI. So this is a 753 billion parameter mixture of experts model from the Chinese lab ZAI. So it is text only. So this is not multimodal, and it has a 1 million token context window, up from 5.1's 200K. And it was released under an MIT license with weights on Hugging Face. So it is currently ranked as the leading open weights model on the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index. So ZAI kind of positioned it specifically to dominate long horizon autonomous coding and engineering tasks. And they said that it beats GPT 5.5 on multiple long horizon coding benchmarks at roughly 1/6 of the cost. So who has access to this right now? Well, anyone. All right. So yeah, you can actually download it and start using it, but you're going to have like a supercomputer unless you want to run a very quantized version. But it's also available on their website at ZAI, or the API if you're using it on the back end, which is much more affordable, like I said, than some of the proprietary closed options. And it is fully commercial MIT license, which means it can be downloaded, self-hosted, fine-tuned, and deployed air-gapped. So for larger enterprises that are, shifting away from their token maxing to token efficiency, a model like this is huge. Also, it scored pretty off the charts on front-end design, front-end coding, actually even better than Fable on front-end coding, which is kind of bonkers. So yes, it is on the front end code on Arena. So because Fable 5 is not technically available, so GLM 5.2 is actually the best front end coding model in the world, and it's open weights. So here's why it's useful and who will find it valuable. So I mean, it's useful because it's a frontier class coding and reasoning model under a permissive MIT license that can run entirely inside your own boundary with no per token meter and no dependency on a single vendor. The 1 million token context window, pretty big as well. So here's the other thing to know. You also have the enterprises that can run it hosted as well. Yeah, I love doing the live stream version sometimes, y'all, because my mouse just literally died. So I'm going to go ahead here, plug my mouse in, and I'm going to start talking about our last one here, which is the OpenAI Codex Record and Replay. All right, this one, we are back on track with OpenAI's kind of Codex Thursday releases. And this one is very simple, but extremely powerful. So this was actually a feature that Google didn't roll out to everyone. They rolled it out to trusted testers. I think it was part of their Project Mercury that just never hit the mainstreams and didn't really hit at all. So OpenAI's Codex Record and Replay is exactly what it sounds like. It's a new feature in Codex where you click a button, you do your work, whatever a certain task or a series of tasks is. Codex watches, it learns exactly what you're doing, and then you can set that up as a skill or an automation that can run at any time. This is huge, right? A big step forward in what we can actually do now that I have 1% battery left on my mouse. Let's go ahead and read from Codex from OpenAI what they say in their announcement posts. They say record and replay lets you demonstrate a workflow on your Mac and turn it into a reusable skill. Use it when the workflow is repetitive, depends on your preferences, or is easy to show than to describe in a prompt. For example, you might record how you file an expense, book a parking space, create a correctly configured issue, publish a video, or download a recurring report. Codex can package the pattern into a skill that you can use again with computer use, browser actions, connected plugins, or a combination of them. So then it says, pick a workflow that you already know how to complete. Record and replay works best when the steps are stable and the success criteria are clear. So this one, again, it just came out, hours ago. So I haven't had too much of a chance to play with it, but so far, really cool. And they did, the Codex team did allude to actually in one of my comments on Twitter that they might also, which would be great, bring the ability eventually to record your voice dictating what you're doing as well, which I think would be really helpful. So ultimately what this does is it creates a skill so you can always go and modify it. So if you go and run it one time and it doesn't work exactly how you want it, that's okay because you can still go in and update it. So who has access? Well, it's right now only for Mac OS users, and it's not available in every single country. So like a lot of these, right? So if you're in the EU, the UK, Switzerland, you don't have access to this just yet. Otherwise, it just requires a paid Codex plan, which is you have a paid ChatGPT plan, then that's the same thing because you can use your paid ChatGPT plan in Codex as it shares usage. So why is this useful? I mean, it removes the biggest friction in enterprise automation, having to describe a workflow in words when it's just much easier to do it. And then it converts that institutional knowledge, right? How, as an example, Sarah processes expense reports into a shareable, repeatable AI skill without IT involvement. So the cool thing is, I mean, this is already directly going to compete with RPA, robotics process automation tools like UiPath and Automation Anywhere on the recorded workflow and automated use case, but with a much lower setup bar. And it just works with all of your existing context inside of Codex, right? That's the biggest thing. If you already have existing projects, if you already have, certain skills, certain workflows, your apps are all connected in there. This one for me, big. All right. So that is a wrap. Those are the 7 AI features that you should start using today. So as a quick recap, OpenAI bringing back and unleashing more schedule tasks to more users. The big Claude Design June update, which I am going to be using a lot. The new Google Vids AI Avatars update that's out now. OpenRouter's Model Fusion, pretty cool. Claude Code Artifacts rolling out to Claude Code, not just on the web anymore. The new powerful OpenWeights GLM 5.2 from ZAI. And last but definitely not least, OpenAI's Codex Record and Replay. I hope this was helpful. If so, please let me know by signing up at our website, youreverydayai.com, because like I said, you're missing out a lot of these things if you're not constantly staying up to date. I do it for you. On Fridays, we do this Friday features where we go over features that you can use right away. On Mondays, we bring you the AI news that matters. Those are big stories affecting your business, policy, right? The big, AI, LLM race and everything. On Wednesdays, we normally do demos going hands-on with one workflow, one new release from a company. And then Tuesdays, Thursdays, we switch it up. So thanks for tuning in. Hope to see you back on Monday and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.